No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Blacklist Universe. Am I muted? Not muted. Okay. Thought I'd do a little story I saw today about Marvel and DC Comics. Will they fail? Will they fail? It's a story. It's the story. Here, should I bring it up now? Let's say hi to some people first. Wait a few. Hope my son brings in the water bottle that I just asked for. We're doing it live. Oh gosh, Doug just went live too. We should really start coordinating things. What's up, P Money, Colonel Irwin, Everett Todd, Lady Celtic Moon? What is going on with you? Rodwell Stevens, Migsy. Darn, was hoping this was happening now while my lunchtime was going on. Oh, was this? These are old. Oh, okay. Let me just scroll down to the bottom. Start at the bottom. Andrew J, Johnny Torch, Rodwell Stevens, Lady Celtic Moon still here. Sadie Bella, P Money, Timothy, Wraith Thulu, Dark Admiral, March Hair, Dry Designs Network, Johnny Torch, everybody, what's up? Dennis Peruch, and anybody miss anybody? Am I eating? No, Andrew J. I'm not currently eating. This space for rent. Greetings, fellow human. What's up, everybody? What's going on in your lives today? I just got back. I cut my walk short. I still have coffee. Oh, this has to be lukewarm by now. No, that's just cold. But not cold enough to be iced coffee. Haven't they already failed all of us? Well, in one sense, yeah. The New Warriors thing. But I feel like everybody already covered that. So what's the deal? Yeah, let's get to the story and kind of make this short, because I don't have to be here all day. I got a comic book to letter so I can get it to the printer. So let's see. Oh, I'm in StreamYard. Sorry. Stood in a line for an hour to buy supplies at the sporting goods stores. You mean ammunition? Oh gosh, yeah, maybe we should go get like bows and arrows and stuff to. Actually, I think we have enough. You could kill birds, right? You could kill birds with BB guns if you can aim well enough. We have pellets too. Pellets are more accurate. So yeah, if I have to feed my kids with some, we have parrots here and crows and drop. Thank you. And mockingbirds. I hate mockingbirds, but they're probably delicious. We've got possum, occasionally raccoons. Can you eat raccoon? I know they eat it in China. Do not eat crows. Squirrels. You can kill squirrels. We don't have many squirrels around where I live. Crows is some good eating, says Captain Hiltz. All right, that's good to know. Groundhogs. Why? What don't they eat in China? Kosher. You know how to track these animals? No, I'll have to start learning things on the YouTube. Bad juju to eat crow or raven. Of course, you know what? We're 20 minutes from the coast, and I have all the fishing gear I need to keep my family fed as long as I can catch something. Of course, then I'm going to need good bait. Bait. Is this the reason this started to begin with? Squirrel is actually pretty good. That's good to hear. Where I'm trying to think of where around here I could go. There's a lake stocked with trout here, so I could always just go up there and catch me some trout. This is an odd cold open. Sorry, Everett Todd. What do you want from me? Professionalism? Come on. Get over it. Get used to it. You know what this is all about. Everybody's saying hi. Hey, Daddy William. Willingham. I also want to say Williams. Too bad Mike can't handle shellfish. Crab as easy as it gets for lazy foragers. I watched videos of them throwing crab traps down and just, oh my gosh. Yeah, Kathy, I chopped about a foot off like a month and a half ago. So yes, indeed I do. I did. Willingham. It's Willingham if you're from Willinghamshire. Willingham. All right. Ouch. What? Anyways. Let's just get to sorry, on this video or this video page, it has the stupid snowflake stuff. And I have to think they are trolling us with this. All right, I'm going to open this up. I haven't seen this. What? After Thor's brother Loki brought gender fluidity to Marvel Comics, the first non-binary superhero has arrived and is causing controversy. Yeah, I'm not going to go through this ridiculousness again. It is just... And I'm sorry, but these costumes are just horrendous. These are just so bad. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Right? Are they trolling us? Is this a giant masterful troll by Marvel Comics to just steer into the stupid? People on the left and right hate the names. Maybe they're going to wake up. They're going to do like 6 issues of this. And at the end, they're going to wake up and the Warriors, it'll be like some weird nightmare that, what's that guy with the bouncing, I can't even remember, Speedball woke up with just a terrible fever dream from suffering from COVID-19. He was sick and in a coma, and he dreamt up this. He was listening to too much CNN or MSNBC, and he had this terrible dream about these non-binary brother, sister, twin team. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just so much stupid. It's hard to believe. Even Marvel, it's hard to believe like anyone, even as I don't want to use the term SJW, but as just lost in the weeds of social Marxism as like a Mark Waid or a Gail Simone would come up with something like this, right? Who is going to buy that, Didi? Pretty much nobody. I'm fairly certain nobody's going to buy this. The first issue will sell like gangbusters just because so many people will buy it to do negative reviews on it. I mean, that's going to be what, 20 copies? That'll be gangbusters? I mean, not that many. No. I got to stop. I can't. All right, let's go to the actual article. This just drives me nuts. It's got to be a joke. Somebody just tell me it's a joke. 32 at least. You know you're buying it, Mike. No, I'm not buying it. I should go talk to my my local comic guy and see what he probably hasn't even heard of it yet. I bet you. The guy that owns comics and stuff, I bet you he hasn't even heard of this stupidity yet. At least Steven Universe was propaganda people could stomach. Zach is going to buy the American Chavez return for sure. You know what's funny about American Chavez? That America Chavez. Oh, I hate doing this because it adds to the Google algorithm. They're like, look how much attention we're getting with the America Chavez. I know it. The heck? What is this? How do it? Of course, I'm using an ad blocker. Go away. All right, I'll just look for an images. Images by Tyrone Green. I don't know. I think this image is actually cute. This little outfit, super easy for girls to cosplay, and I know that's what they're thinking of. You know, she just looks like a Captain America fanboy, right? I don't hate this. I don't hate the way this looks. I mean, it doesn't look like a superhero or anything, but it looks like something kids could cosplay. I don't know what all this is. Maybe it's because I like the flag and I think anything that looks patriotic is cool. Maybe. Mike, do a quant search and use Brave. Why aren't you using DuckDuckGo, Mike? Yeah, my Brave browser is underneath this whole screen, so... Oh, wait. Yeah, I don't know why it's not in my sidebar. But, yeah. Oh, did anyone notice that last night's fan speak was pulled down by YouTube? No. It sounds like they're cutting off a lot of people, though, for just seemingly random stuff. They're shooting for the next Miles Morales, but for Cap. Really? They just want to replace all the old standbys, whatever. Those were alternate costumes from the last series. Oh, okay. Hard to go wrong with booty shorts. So Eden's drawing a picture of Psylocke right now, and she put her in short shorts instead of her G-stringus thingus or whatever. Oh, you were on there with Nasser and Jason when they built. Oh, that's too bad. Let's see. All right, I don't want to drag this over here. Just need to double check. Oh my gosh, did you guys see the it's so bad. Oh gosh, do I want to talk about this? All right, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to share it. I'm going to share this, and I will just let you guys talk about it. Hold on. Stop screen, share audio, share. So that's a coin you could have picked up at any one particular Indiegogo a few months ago. Available for a while. It would have only cost you $25 plus shipping and handling. And apparently this guy is going to make a sandwich out of it.
Sure, I'm hungry.
He just plops it right down there on the coin, that $25 coin. And that paper.
Oh, never mind.
That paper just lifts right off of there.
I was going to set a timer, but it came right off.
Interesting. All right. Provided for you without comment. All right, let's go back to the story at hand since it's this is just weird. Yeah. Quality. Paper covering on a frog. Who uses mayonnaise instead of Miracle Whip? Miracle Whip. That's all it is paper. That's correct, Fuzzy Creature. $24.49 worth of paper. Let's see. I have not seen this. Wow. Yeah. Fun stuff, huh? Fun stuff. All right, let's talk about, are Marvel and DC Comics really close to failing? Did you see the fluting on that coin? All right. If you believe the rumors, the entire comic book industry, including both DC and Marvel, is in big trouble. Just what's going on? If you read the headlines, you might firmly believe that the comic book industry is in a state of total, imminent crisis. Back in 2017, at a Meet the Publishers panel at San Diego Comic-Con, kicked off a storm when the heads of DC Comics states an intention to stop the collapse of the comic book industry. DC eventually insisted it was something of a misquote, but the sentiment created a very real sense that all is not well in the comic book world. At the time when comic book adaptations are bigger than ever, public interest in the actual comics seems to be waning. And whose fault is that? Sorry, that's a complaint I have had literally since, I don't know, since the turn of the century. That, I mean, we've had X-Men, we've had Spider-Man, we've had the Avengers universe, and Marvel has done nothing. Marvel should take most of the blame for this. They've done nothing to turn the biggest pop culture genre in history, this moment in time, these 2 decades, they did nothing to turn that into comic book buyers. Ugh. So annoying. You know what? Take 10% of your budget, take 20% of your budget, and do some outreach to get comics into the hands of the kids who just fell in love with Captain America and Iron Man. And whose fault is that? Like 2020. That's right. Whose fault is that? All right. More recently, veteran retailer Brian Hibbs presented a barnstorming State of the Industry address at the Comics Pro annual meeting, confirming that comic book retailers do indeed seem to be in decline. By his estimate, up to 10% of stores in the United States have closed over the last year. The entire speech is available on industry website ICV2. Needless to say, Hibbs' warning of watching the entire industry. Could you stop crinkling that, please? It's always got to be while I'm streaming. This entire industry crumble away have given rise to a flurry of new speculation online, questioning the health of the direct market, complete with exaggerated claims that DC Comics is about to be shut down and Disney is killing Marvel Comics too. Suffice to say, these rumors are completely unfounded. Disney is not killing Marvel Comics. Marvel is killing Marvel Comics. If it's dying, you know. When the Marvel movies were starting to get hot, that was a crucial point to sell comics. But no, they wanted propaganda pamphlets instead. Right. But that's not even that. They didn't even, I mean, that's obviously that was a huge problem, right? But they didn't even bother a spinner rack. A spinner rack in every movie theater. You don't think flipping Disney could afford to put a spinner rack in every movie theater and stock it with low price point newsprint Marvel Comics, dollar books? They spend more on advertising in a day than it would have cost to fill every stinking movie theater in the country with the spinner rack and stock it full of cheap newsprint Marvel Comics. But they didn't care. They didn't care. So maybe Disney was killing Marvel. Who knows? But how bad are things in the comic book industry? Is this all just a storm in a teacup, or is it really a matter of heroes in crisis? It's not an easy question to grasp for casual fans, so let's take a look at the evidence and then examine just what publishers are doing to correct the problems. Sorry, that kind of makes me laugh. I don't think they're doing anything to correct any problems. Doesn't guarantee that theaters would take the racks, Mike. Oh, it does if you make it conditional upon them having Avengers in their movie theaters. You don't think Disney has the sway to push racks to push anything, Disney's the one making all the money for the movie theaters. Spinner in theaters is brilliant, right? That would have been so easy. Would have been so easy. In fact, if Disney wanted to, if they cared about any of this stuff, if they cared about comics at all, you know, it would just, they have the money, they have the backing to, you know, make grocery stores put comics up in the main aisles on the bottom shelf. You know, all those places in the grocery stores where you see all those magazine stuff, they pay for that placement, right? Those companies pay for the placement of those magazines in those spots, and they pay for that because that is where kids see stuff, grab stuff, buy stuff, because they're sitting there in line waiting, and that's what they see. A rack full of number one true believers when these movies were playing would have been idea. Right? Are comic book sales declining? Estimated unit sales of Diamond's top 300 comics each month. Well, if you're starting in 97, we were still in the boom here. So I think you'd probably want to start here. And if that's the case, then higher lows, higher highs. It's really not. It's been declining these 3 years, but it was declining from 2007 to 2010. It's just in a fluctuation. We're still in a higher. Look at that. We're not that much lower than this peak. So it's declining in the last 2 years. I would never say that this is a trend upward. But yeah, all this time from 2000 to here, they should have been promoting the crap out of these books. Third-party vendors own those racks for magazines. They don't stock what doesn't sell. I'm pretty sure, because we've looked into this when we were publishing comics to see how you get books into those locations. If it's third-party vendors, then they're paying for that spot. You know what I'm saying? It is a paid spot. You pay extra to be in that spot. I don't know if you can get in there, but I'm fairly certain Disney has enough money to make sure they were there if they cared about the comics. Let's see. The comic book industry was at its most recent peak in the 1990s before a major slump, which almost led to Marvel Comics going bankrupt. Actually, Marvel Comics did go bankrupt in 1999. I remember. I was there. Saw sales drop from levels that they may never equal again. Looking at Diamond sales estimates, the first glance, it seemed that the comic book industry has stabilized. See chart visible above. In reality, though, the data hides a lot of problems. The main issue is the retail model of the comics themselves, which involves retailers purchasing comics from Diamond Distribution, then selling them on to customers. Diamond's figures only cover retail purchases in the United States, and that's a very limited data set. This is true. Walmart is vendor operated. Explain a little bit there, Mr. Hellstrom. Expand, if you would. Disney isn't just an entertainment business these days. They're in the mind conditioning business. Is comic book readership declining? That is the question. Well, comics readership is actually growing, whether that be manga or webtoon. There's more people reading comics today. Probably, I don't know if more than ever, but there's, yeah. Let's see what is webtoons. Oh, you know what? I don't even have to do. Where's my phone? Dang gummit, where's my phone? Oh, it's charging. Webtoon subscribers. Let's see how many subscribers Webtoon has today. And Webtoon is Oh, hey, look. It's Brian Shear. 100 subscribers. All right. How many users does Webtoon have? 55 million users on Webtoon. You don't think there's enough comic readers out there to make a living doing comic books? There are 55 million active monthly users, 15 million daily readers. It's bigger than television. More people read web comics on our platform in one day than watch most TV shows. So, yeah. Are they out there? Yeah, they're out there. Can we find a way to get to them? That is the question. Yes, but those comics are free. That's true, Pablo Romero. And most of those comics are only good enough to be free. But that doesn't matter because there's a percentage of those readers, 55 million readers. There's a percentage of those readers that will someday, because they love the art form. People will watch stuff for free. They will also pay for stuff, right? You'll watch stuff on TV for free, but you'll pay for a movie. You'll pay for a subscription. You'll pay for this or that, the other, even though you have other stuff you could watch for free. That's the same thing with the Webtoon model, right? It's monetizing it. That is the trick. Web comics in general have always had a hard time figuring out how to monetize. It's not an impossible task. There is a phenomenal number of people out there who can be convinced to become financial supporters of creators and the comics that they love. So you should talk to Real Clownfish TV about webtoons and tapas. I should. Mike's son got on there drawing talking potatoes. It's true. Everett says, I don't pay for any subscription. Said Everett Todd, who is subscribed to this channel. I'd love to have Mike on Clownfish. I'd love to get on Clownfish. I actually have talked to him in DM, so maybe someday. All right. Let's keep going. We can get back to the Webtoons conversation. But that's just to say, you're like, are there that many comic readers out there? There's tens of millions of comic readers out there. Can you get a small percentage? A small percentage of 55 million people is a whole lot of people to support a comic book. So, yeah. If there's a way to get them, then there's a way to get them. There's a future for comics for sure. I can't ignore that. If every one of a retailer's purchases sells, then they are fine. The reality is very different. Too many books aren't selling, and that's due to a variety of causes, constant relaunches, cycles of miniseries and first issues where retailers struggle to estimate just how many copies they actually have in stock in the first place. Worse still, industry figures have suggested that a solid 90% of stock that comes off the shelves has zero value as archived back issues. That's according to Phil Boyle of Coliseum Comics, Florida, who spoke firsthand in an editorial for ICB2 of his own losses on the issues going unsold in the first weeks, in which he gave a sense of just how bad things are getting. No one is looking for a 3-issue miniseries 6 months removed unless it features a new character and there's a rumor circulating about her inclusion in a movie that was possibly greenlit. Between February and October, we had at cost nearly $100,000 in books that were taken off the stands. 60% were instantly unsellable. 30% will languish if they're still here in 3 months. Oof. That's why they make it hard. Marvel and DC with this unreturnable policy. What drives me nuts is that, this whole unreturnable policy thing, this may have been legitimate and may have worked, and it works for smaller smaller publishers. I mean, when we were publishing, yeah, the guaranteed sales was a beautiful thing. But and it works when Marvel and DC were independent, right? What's this about Nighthawk Warrior? It's about Marvel and DC and the future of comics. I know, right? Comic books, who knew? But again, these guys are backed by DC. I mean, by AT&T, Warner Brothers, AT&T, and by Walt flippin' Disney. Two of the biggest, richest, most profitable companies on the planet. And they're still relying on these direct market schemes and scams, which screw the retailer. And it's just not fair to the retailers to treat them like that. I mean, again, if it's one thing if you're some flat, like startup company, and you're like, you're budgeting, and it's like, oh, okay, good, I sold 4,000 copies to Dynamite. That's guaranteed sales. I can get that money in the next 30 days. I don't have to wait for 6 months to get returns, so that there's no accountability there. And because there's no accountability for the larger companies, they're taking advantage of it, and that's what is hurting the local comic book stores. Direct marketing is failing, not comics. Direct marketing is failing, not comics. Oh, you mean the direct market? Sorry. The model of the direct market. I don't want to say it's the stores. The stores are doing what they can, but the model is hurting the stores. And the problem with that, like I said, is that these companies can afford to wait 6 months to get paid, just like in all other publishing. In other publishing, you send the books. It's just like the newsstand, right? You send the books, and the companies try to sell the books. The corner store, I guess 7-Eleven. Yeah, 7-Eleven, the grocery store, the direct market. They sell the books, and then the books that they don't sell, they rip the covers off and send them back as proof of non-sale, right? And they ship back. They don't ship back they just ship back the ripped covers. That's the way it used to be. And that's when they get paid. That is when, or actually, there's a refund thing. It's not exactly that's when they get paid, but there's a refund time period. I think it's a 6-month refund time period, something along those lines. It's been a while since I did this, but DC and Marvel can afford that kind of a lag, right? They can afford those returns, and they can better understand what the customer wants, and they can better service the customer, right? What is happening in the comic book industry is it's sort of like it's like rent control, right? It's like I don't know, it's like it's some weird crony capitalism thing where they made a decision that they were gonna scratch each other's backs, but somehow or another it stopped being a scratching and more of a bending over for the local comic book store. And so they have to get back, and retailers have been crying for decades for returnable books, a return policy for comics. And I just keep saying it, Marvel and DC could afford it, and they could that way react to the customer desires for their books and stop putting out crap like Snowflake and non-binary. Oh, that's not It's not non-binary. It's safe. Is it safe space? Safe space. 12 levels of stupid. Unbelievable. All right. The result is that comic book retailers are being forced to shut down. The celebrated Mile High Comics in Glendale, Colorado, made headline with its closing in January of 2019 after nearly 29 years in business as one of the largest comic shops in the country. Manager Charles Rosansky posted a heartfelt Facebook post in which he explained that closing in clear but concerning terms, I fervently believe that the economics of comics publishing simply no longer allow smallish neighborhood comic shops to be successful. Smallish neighborhood comic shops. Mile High was legitimately one of the largest comic shops in the country. I think there was more going on with this, because just a few short years before Mile High Comics in Glendale, Colorado closed in January of 2019, you know what they did, which they hadn't been doing for decades. Mile High Comics had a warehouse in Colorado filled with millions of dollars worth of comic books, right? Millions of dollars worth of comic books. And so this was the warehouse wherein I believe they did their internet business, and they did, they would have their back stock and their very expensive back issues and all that kind of stuff. You know what they did with that? Do you guys remember what Mile High did with you remember what they did with their warehouse and all their stock? They had a blowout sale getting rid of all that stock so they could sell their warehouse to a pot grower. Mile High consolidated into a massive warehouse store. It's still in business. Oh, well, there's an update. That's bad research because that's just recent. But yeah, they blew out a bunch of books. I don't know if they blew out everything, but it functionally must have changed their business model, because so much of their back stock, which they were selling. Mile High Comics has, like, I don't know if they still have it, but they had like the biggest retail website in Comicdom. Yeah. It's still there. So I don't know that, and I'm pretty sure that's what they did, right? They stocked all that up and whatever. Unless this happened in the last month, it's 20 minutes for me. No, they said January 2019. January 2019. The pot smokers bought the comics to roll up the marijuana with. Well, they'd need a comic with some really, really thin paper. Does anything come to mind? Anyways. Yeah, 20 years ago, Mile High was my online go-to retailer. Yeah, I think I've bought stuff from Mile High too. They were. I think Mile High and Lone Star Comics, I think, are the two big comics retailers, unless I am missing some. Mile High is several stores, not one. So which one did they close? With its closing in January 2019 after nearly 29 years in business. Maybe he sold it. While the bulk of comic book sales are indeed believed to be through this so-called direct market, it's important to note that Diamond's figures don't include other crucial sales channels. Digital sales, meanwhile, are a complete unknown. There have been throwaway comments over the years that online sales of some books, particularly those of younger heroes, actually exceed physical copies, particularly Marvel's legacy heroes like Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen is a legacy hero? What? And Ms. Marvel. Those are not is all right. Okay, does Marvel have a brand called Legacy that I don't know of? Doesn't Mile High have an underage trans shows? Yeah, that's the Mile High you're thinking of. Chuck Rosansky is trans. I think he's just a drag queen, actually. I'm fairly sure he's just a drag queen. In the last 30 years, Mile High and Midtown have bought the half a dozen stores each. Huh. All right. Well, I haven't been paying attention to that. I'm just going by what I know and what this article is saying. So obviously the article is a little, even though this article is like from yesterday, day before yesterday. Let's see. Freaking stupid. But of course it's impossible to evaluate. Meanwhile, there are also no details for Marvel's sales deal with Scholastic, which sells books like Unbeatable Squirrel Girl and Miss Marvel and Spider-Gwen, and I'm sure pretty soon, New Warriors. All this seems rather strange given comic book adaptations have never been more popular, and superhero brands have pervaded popular culture to the degree that an Aquaman film can gross over $1 billion worldwide. That suggests the problem is to do with the entire retail model. So with that established, let's dive into exactly how the direct market works. Page 2 of 2. I think there was a series called Legacy, but I don't know the story your boy Zach was doing a review on. Yes, Legacy was a brand Marvel used a few years ago to describe their storylines. So you're saying that rather than using their legacy characters, they just called their new stupid characters Legacy Comics, Legacy characters. That's stupid. That's I'm offended. Mile High is now a Stoner reference. Always has been. All right. The problem with buying comic books, in order to purchase a comic, a prospective reader has to go out of their way to find a local comic book retailer that happens to stock up the book they're interested in. This kind of approach poses significant barriers to casual readers who are thinking of dipping their toe into comics. What's more, pricing doesn't help. Most comics sell for between $4 and $6 for a single issue. Assuming this potential reader actually goes to a comic book shop, they'll find themselves bombarded with options and, frankly, able to afford only one or two of them. Well, how broke do you think people are that they can only afford one or two comics? To use an example, if a new reader wants to pick up Spider-Man comic, he should try. Which one should he go for? Amazing Spider-Man, which publishes bi-weekly with 3 issues due to come out in March 2019 as a result. Spider-Man Life Story, Marvel's Spider-Man City at War, The Spider-Man Far From Home Prelude, or even Spider-Man Deadpool. And that's not even counting additional webhead-related titles such as Venom, Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, or Superior Spider-Man. Jay says, right now, pretty broke. Yeah. Nothing about this experience is attractive to a brand new comic book reader, and the sheer number of comics published in a month isn't just an issue for new readers. It's in an interview with ICV2 at San Diego Comic-Con in 2018, former DC publisher Dan Didio suggested the entire market is in trouble. My fear is that there's probably an oversaturation of product, he explained. If you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at 400 new periodicals a month. In his view, the model clearly isn't sustainable. The market is what cannot sustain the product. If you had a bigger market, because you'd spend the last 2 decades actually, reaping or sowing the seeds for new readers. Can you imagine if they had started 20 years ago trying to reach out to kids with comic books? Those 10-year-old kids would be 30-year-old men with jobs and kids of their own, and income where they could buy comic books. Oh, they have screwed the pooch on this for so long and so painfully. You know what? Let me take a quick commercial break here and tell you why I am trying to launch my universe. Because obviously, Marvel and DC have lost the goal, right? They have completely lost the goal. They don't know. They've forgotten what superheroes are about. They've forgotten what this whole market is about. It's about heroes you can believe in, right? It's about characters who are willing to put everything, their lives on the line to do what's right, to fight for the innocent, not to fight for the social justice. I do a book called Lone Star. Many of you, most of you already know. You can go to lonestarcomic.com. The link is in the description. You can check it out. This is a redo for my first issue. The second issue is also available here. I'll be finishing up tomorrow. Hopefully, my letterist told me he would have the letters in to me tomorrow, and then we can get that ready and prepped for the printer. This has a backstory on one of the characters called Brando, drawn by the phenomenal Matt Weldon. I just lettered these pages up yesterday. So, yeah, if you have time, do check it out. I am building a universe, a whole universe, and this is the starting point. This is the Superman, except not Superman, but you know, the Superman character, the linchpin of the new universe. It starts here. And the whole slogan, Blacklist Universe, you'll believe in heroes again, because obviously Marvel and DC have forgotten what that is about. I also have another book available right now. Oh, hey, look, it's my DeviantArt page. If you guys aren't subbed to my DeviantArt page, I'm Underdog Mike on DeviantArt. But that's not what I'm looking for. Bless this mess. I also have Bless This Mess up on Kickstarter right now. I have 100 backers. Woo! Actually, I didn't even see that before. Bless This Mess is a comic strip about me and my crazy family. Please do go check it out. There are 52 hours to go. I thought I was collecting propaganda. Comics, fun stories? Wow, who knew? Yes, that's why you get my book, Stark Admiral Marcher, because it's about fun stories, not propaganda. I do have a propaganda book coming out. You mean Lone Star is the Captain America, not the Superman. Except Captain America wasn't the foundation of Marvel, right? Well, Captain America came out in the 40s. But before Captain America, you had the Human Torch, you had the Incredible Hulk. I don't want to get into the weeds on this, but yeah, okay, fair enough. Blacklist Universe Legacy. Blacklist Universe, sorry if you've already answered, but where are you at with Monster Hunt? I am going to be lettering that today, Skeeth. I am going to be lettering that today. Because my letterist said he'd get the rest of Lone Star to me tomorrow. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna letter the rest of this stuff myself, because I learned how, and I showed him the pages, and he's like, yeah, that's good, that's right. So, anyways, do check out Bless This Mess. There's a page in there by Earthworm Jim creator Doug TeNapel. There'll be pages by or strips by Elliot Fernandez, Matthew Weldon. If this thing can get funded, then there's a whole lot. This is over 112 pages worth of comic goodness. Clean, family fun, but just awesome hilarity. Do get in there and do your thing. Let's make comics people care about again. And knowing is half the battle. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but yes. That's what I'm told anyways. The Guardian is the Captain America of DC. All right. Nothing about this experience is attractive to a brand new comic book reader. And the sheer number of comics published in a month isn't just an issue for new readers. In an interview with ICV2 at San Diego Comic Con. Oh, no, I already read that. But yeah, at this point, nothing about this experience is attractive to a brand new comic book reader. Most comic book readers our age got that first, crack hit at 7-Eleven, at Vaughn's, at True Value. I used to get comics at True Value hardware store. You have to go where the kids are. You can't just force everybody into these little mouse traps called the direct market, It's too easy to just walk past. Hardly anybody just wanders into a comic book store. Except at the mall. When people are just bored. All right, 2018 belonged to DC Comics, not Marvel. There is, however, one aspect of the comic book market that's experiencing something of a boom of late. Over the past 5 years, the North American graphic novel market has welcomed a wave of new readers and grown from about 805 million in sales in 2012 to more than 1 billion in 2017. But these sales aren't happening at traditional comic book retailers. They're happening at everyday bookshops such as Barnes & Noble, which is remarkable in and of itself because Borders closed and a bunch of Barnes & Nobles closed and a bunch of Walden Books, Crown Books, Books A Million. So many bookstores have closed, and in the closing of those, comic books have still grown. That's crazy. Comic stores can be creepy. Indeed, they can. Where's an amazing comic book store that's almost like it's like the Walmart of comic book stores? You ever been to Dragon's Lair in Austin, Texas? That is a phenomenal, huge comic book shop. If you guys are ever in Austin, you got to check that out. It's huge. All right. But these sales aren't even that wasn't sustained in 2018, with bookshops seeing reduced sales across the board due to a slowing economy. Regardless, the fact that there's such a difference in trend between the direct market and the bookshops is quite striking. Again, it suggests that the problem is with the retail model itself. Yeah, that's what I've been saying for 20 years. The problems in the direct market are realistically being worsened by the publishers. I didn't read this in advance. I probably should have, but I know that it sounds like he's saying exactly what I said earlier. But whatever. They're taking short-term strategies that are designed to give a brief boost in monthly sales at the expense of building an actual ongoing relationship with readers. Sadly, that is a lot of truth right there. Seven says, I personally recommend Austin Books if you're in the area. Have you been to Dragon's Lair? Is Austin Books in a comic shop, Seven? Sadly, retailers identify Marvel Comics as a particular problem. Just as in the 90s, many of Marvel's sales are driven by variant covers, often with an exaggerated price. Brian Hibbs gave an excellent example in the upcoming War of the Realms event. War of the Realms had 17 different covers on the first issue at initial solicitation. And they've also added another 8 more at FOC. I don't know what that is. After, of course, we've pre-sold our sets and such. All of this on a $6 comic. A customer who actually wanted all 25 copies of that single release would be asked to spend nearly $150 on a single issue of a single comic. Well, that's not as bad as spending $200 on 6 issues of a comic. But who's counting? Often variant orders come with some strings attached. So, for example, a retailer will only be able to order limited edition, higher demand variants if they purchase over a certain number of the standard edition. Yeah, this is forcing retailers to purchase product they can't sell. You guys all know this. But for the newbies, if anybody new stumbles onto this, they force and again, this is the direct market, so there are no returns allowed from the retailers. They are forced to purchase a certain number of books, like say 25 copies of a $6 book, which their retail is 50%. So they're paying 6 times 50 would be 300. No, wait. 6 times 50. No, I said 25. So it'd be $3 times 25. It'd be $75. They'd be $75 of unsellable product in order to get the one copy that collectors will want. And that's why they sell that one copy for $75. All the variant covers. Mike, no, do math. I did it right. This is why Mike owns an abacus. All the variant covers kill comic book shops too. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, Jay Hamilton. That's exactly what we're talking about. Maldescentien says, I shed no tears for OCD completist collectors who got to have all 24 variant covers of the same freaking issue. Someone that crazy deserves to be swindled. Yeah, but well, whatever. I think it hurts. It's not them though. It's hurting the comic book store. The local shop is who gets hurt. The retailer can be reasonably confident these limited edition comics will be in demand, but rarely has any way to know for sure how well the normal version is going to perform. So they're essentially forced to gamble. Publishers profit from the gamble. But if those books don't sell at all, then they're just taking up shelf space in the shops that could have been used for other titles. I mean, never mind that. Those are books. That's money in the toilet. You're at this point, you're just buying unsellable product, and you're being forced to do so in order to get product that somebody might want. It is ridiculous. And I dropped my cap. All right. The challenge facing all comic book publishers is just how to respond to the current situation. DC, for example, has already chosen to reduce their line by somewhere between 10 and 15% in order to lessen the amount of content on the shelves at any one time. They're also looking closely at reducing the number of collected editions for the same reason, and considering adding material to print versions that wouldn't be available in digital format. That doesn't feel like what's happening. I mean, this may be anecdotal, but you guys know I've been in the industry for 28 years as an artist primarily, but also as a writer and as a publisher, essentially. This past year, I think I've seen more of my stuff. No, these past 2 years, I've seen more of my stuff from the old days compiled into trade paperbacks for sale than I'd ever seen. I mean, besides Injustice, than I'd ever seen. So it may be anecdotal. Maybe they're just selecting those particular books, those particular series that I was working on. But it seems to me like they're publishing more. Again, anecdotal. I could be totally wrong. Hey, what's up, Crid? DC Comics published 101 comics last month, says Nixie. Ooh, that's a lot of comics, isn't it? They're also looking closely at reducing the number of collected editions. That's what I'm complaining about. And considering it adding material to print versions that wouldn't be available in a digital format. Both Marvel and DC are experimenting with different distribution models that avoid the direct market, with DC's Black Label initiative and Marvel's Scholastic deal. Wait, the Black Label initiative avoids the direct market? Do I have to look this up? Does anybody? All right, I'm gonna have to clip that. Shit, Black Label. No, I think this is wrong. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. They got that wrong. No. In truth, comic book industry isn't really in a crisis. It's more that it's undergoing a period of dramatic disruption, with both the publishers and the retailers struggling to work out how best to operate in the modern world. That doesn't mean that the comic book publishers are in any danger of going bust, but reports that Disney and Warner Brothers are considering shutting down Marvel and DC Comics are complete nonsense, with no supporting evidence behind them at all. Rather, it means that they're going to need to experiment and deviate from traditional direct market model. DC Comics feel to be the trailblazer right now, but even they haven't quite cracked it. Whoever works out the right approach will surely become the market leader. Well, they're going to have to change fundamentally how they deal with the direct market in order to make this happen. But hey, you know what? That's why we have Lone Star in the Blacklist universe, so that in the future they have an option other than Marvel and DC for a wonderful, big, glorious universe of superheroes that is professionally done and loves the genre more than the what is it? Political, social Darwinism, whatever it is. But there will inevitably be real consequences for comic book shops if the publishers find a new model that works more effectively in the present. It's likely to become their main sales channel going forward. This will increase the pressure on retailers who, again, will need to either adapt or close up shop. What will the future hold? If and when that happens, well, readers will have to wait to cross that bridge. Interesting. Stop screen sharing. So let's see what you say. I think I'm done with Big Universe Cape Comics. Well, it's too big. And as far as the Blacklist universe goes, I have a growth model, right? You're here at the beginning of a universe, but each book will be its own book. I am going to do interlinked stuff, but you're not going to have to read Lone Star to enjoy Atomic Family. You're not going to have to read Atomic Family. There's not going to be a constant swell of these ridiculous crossovers. It was cool. You know what? When Infinity War happened, or the Infinity Gauntlet happened, when Secret Wars happened, they were cool because they were new and they were bringing together all these great characters that everybody loved, and they were fun and exciting and heroic and all that stuff. But they do it nonstop now in order to bilk people out of their money. It's because you want to know what happens to Spider-Man? Well, you're going to have to read 12 other comic books because he's part of this entire storyline, and then blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, when they were rare events, they were great events. They were events. If it's event after event after event after event, it's no longer an event. It's just the norm. And they need to simplify. You know what they need to do? They need to I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to give them any suggestions. I'm just going to do what I think is good storytelling with great characters on my own timeline. And hopefully you guys will be there with me, supporting Lone Star, supporting the Atomic Family when it comes out, supporting Godsword when it comes out. I have all these plans primo. Dr. Moreau, Unit 8, Devil Dog. I don't know if I'm going to change that, but I've got a lot of great intellectual properties that hopefully someday will all get launched and kick some butt. But once again, Lone Star, share screen. There it is. If you want to get over to Lone Star, like I said, I did all the lettering for this last night, so we should be able to compile this book up pronto. I might actually just go to print on this first, because that way I don't have to wait on anything for this campaign. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. But should be good. Looking for artists eventually, Jim O'Reilly. I will be looking for artists, and you do some great stuff, brother. So we'll talk in the future. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here for Marvel and DC Comics. Will they? What is it called? Survive? Will they end? Will they fail? Will they fail? And I don't know if I'm going to do anything else tonight. I do want to be lettering the heck out of that the Monster Hunt book, so we can get that off my desk, and then I can launch Magnificent 7. Also in the description, please do check that out for the email list. So I will see you guys tomorrow, I guess, for something. Peace out.
Oh, it looks good on you, though.